Get your hands off that glass case, or I'm calling the police right now. The security guard's voice slices through the ambient mall music, drawing stares from passing shoppers. His hand hovers over his radio, fingers twitching with barely contained authority. The woman he's addressing, a black woman in her early 40s wearing simple athletic wear, slowly turns from the jewelry display she'd been examining. Her expression remains remarkably calm, almost studied, as if she's memorizing every detail of this interaction. The guard, Wade Brennan according to his badge, steps closer. His bulk fills the narrow space between display cases, deliberately invasive. "Did you hear me? Step away from the merchandise." She doesn't move immediately. Instead, her eyes sweep the immediate area, noting the security camera positioned 12 feet away at a 45-degree angle, the two other guards converging from different directions, the mall patrons now recording with their phones. When she does step back, it's measured, controlled, each movement deliberate. "I was looking," she says, voice level. "That's still legal, isn't it?" Brennan's jaw tightens. "Don't get smart with me. I've been watching you for 20 minutes. You've been casing this whole section." The word casing hangs in the air like an accusation looking for evidence to support it. The woman, Simone Hartwell, though none of them know her name yet, tilts her head slightly. It's a gesture that suggests she's heard this before, perhaps too many times. "I've been shopping," she corrects, or attempting to, "without buying anything." This from the second guard who's arrived, Kyle Jennings by his name tag, younger but trying to project the same intimidating presence. "That's called loitering." Simone's phone buzzes in her hand. She glances at it briefly, a message about quarterly projections that she dismisses before returning her attention to the guards. "Actually, loitering requires refusing to leave after being asked." "Are you asking me to leave?" The question seems to catch them off guard. They exchange glances, some silent communication passing between them. Brennan reaches for his radio. "Central, we have a situation at Marcelli's. Suspicious individual refusing to comply with security directives." "I haven't refused anything," Simone interjects, her voice still maddeningly calm to them. "You haven't actually asked me to do anything specific. You've made accusations and threats, but no actual requests." The small crowd of onlookers has grown. Most keep their distance, but their phones remain raised, capturing every second. Brennan notices, and his posture shifts, becomes more official, as if performing for an audience that might review his actions later. "Ma'am, under the authority granted to mall security by Florida Statute 810.09, I'm informing you that you need to leave this establishment immediately." The statute number rolls off his tongue with practiced ease, a verbal weapon he's clearly deployed before. Simone's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or calculation. "That statute requires that I be engaging in behavior that disrupts the normal business operations, or that I've been formally trespassed with proper documentation. Which am I being accused of?" Jennings steps forward, pulling out a small laminated card. He begins reading from it in a monotone voice that suggests he's done this many times before. "Pine Grove Mall reserves the right to refuse service and access to any individual whose presence creates a disturbance, safety concern, or disruption to our shopping environment. Failure to leave when requested by security personnel constitutes criminal trespass under Florida law, punishable by arrest and prosecution." The recitation takes exactly 45 seconds. Simone counts them, her fingers moving almost imperceptibly at her side. When he finishes, she nods once. "I see. And what specific disturbance have I created?" "You're creating one right now," Brennan says, gesturing to the gathered crowd. "Your refusal to cooperate is disrupting business." The circular logic would be amusing if it weren't so common. Simone looks around at the crowd their confrontation has attracted, phone still recording, then back to the guards. "To be clear, you're saying that my presence has created a disturbance, but the disturbance is the crowd that gathered because you confronted me publicly?" A woman from the crowd speaks up. "She wasn't doing anything. I saw her. She was just looking at jewelry like everyone else." Brennan turns sharply toward the voice. "Ma'am, please stay back. This is a security matter." But the intervention has emboldened others. A teenager with purple hair adds, "Yeah, she's been totally normal. You guys are the ones making a scene." Jennings pulls out his phone, starts typing rapidly. "I'm documenting witness interference," he announces, as if this might discourage the growing support. Simone uses the momentary shift in attention to step back further from the jewelry counter, creating more space between herself and the guards. It's a tactical move, one that suggests an understanding of defensive positioning that goes beyond civilian instinct. "I'll leave," she says suddenly, causing both guards to refocus on her. "Not because I've done anything wrong, but because this is escalating unnecessarily." She starts walking toward the mall's main corridor. unhurried but purposeful. The guards follow, maintaining a distance that's close enough to be oppressive, but far enough to claim they're not physically forcing her. It's a practiced formation, one they've clearly perfected. As they move through the mall, Simone's eyes catch details others might miss. The load-bearing pillars that suggest recent structural reinforcement, the HVAC vents that indicate a system upgrade in the last 5 years, the subtle signs of deferred maintenance in the floor tiles near the fountain. She files each observation away with the efficiency of someone accustomed to rapid assessment. "Keep moving," Brennan says unnecessarily, since she hasn't slowed or stopped. They pass the food court where the lunch crowd has started gathering. Several diners look up from their meals, watching the strange procession. Simone notices one man in particular, dressed in a suit that costs more than most people's monthly salary, who watches with an expression of recognition, not of her, but of the situation. He shakes his head slightly and returns to his lunch, unwilling to get involved. The main entrance looms ahead, afternoon sunlight streaming through the automatic doors. Simone stops just before reaching them, turning to face the guards one more time. "I want your names and badge numbers for my records," she says. Brennan actually laughs. "Lady, you're the one being escorted out. You don't get to make demands." "It's not a demand. It's a request for information I'm legally entitled to." She pulls out her phone, not to call anyone but to open a note-taking app. The gesture is smooth, practiced, suggesting this isn't her first time documenting an encounter. "Wade Brennan, badge 774, she reads from his visible badge. "Kyle Jennings, badge 392. She types as she speaks, then looks up. "And your supervisor's name?" "You don't need that information," Jennings says quickly. "Madison Rothwell," a new voice interjects. They all turn to see a woman in her 50s approaching, her heels clicking authoritatively on the marble floor. Everything about her screams management, from the tailored blazer to the way she carries herself like someone who's never been questioned in her life. "I'm the mall general manager. What seems to be the problem here?" The guards straighten instinctively. "Ms. Rothwell, we were just escorting this individual out. She was causing a disturbance at Marcelli's." Madison's eyes sweep over Simone with the kind of dismissive glance that categorizes and dismisses in the same moment. "I see. And you are?" "Someone who was shopping until your security decided otherwise," Simone responds. "Well, perhaps this isn't the right shopping environment for you," Madison says, her tone suggesting multiple layers of meaning. "There are other malls that might be more suitable." The implication hangs heavy in the air. Simone meets her gaze steadily. "Suitable how exactly?" Madison's smile doesn't reach her eyes. "More aligned with your shopping needs?" "Budget-friendly options, you understand." "I understand perfectly." Simone's voice carries no emotion, which somehow makes it more impactful. "I understand that you're making assumptions based on my appearance. I understand that your security targeted me without cause, and I understand that you're now trying to justify their actions with coded language about suitability." "No one's targeting anyone," Madison says, but her voice has taken on a defensive edge. "We simply maintain certain standards here at Pine Grove. It's what our regular customers expect. And I don't meet those standards?" "I didn't say that. You didn't have to." The tension between them could be cut with a knife. The guards watch uncertainly, waiting for direction. The crowd of onlookers has grown again, drawn by the obvious confrontation. Madison steps closer, lowering her voice but not enough that others can't hear. "Listen, I don't know what you're trying to prove here, but this is private property. We have the right to ask anyone to leave, for any reason." "Actually, that's not entirely accurate," Simone says. "As a place of public accommodation engaged in interstate commerce, you're bound by federal civil rights law. You can't discriminate based on race, color, or national origin. That's Title II of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The specific legal citation catches Madison off guard. Her eyes narrow. "Are you a lawyer?" "No, just someone who knows her rights." "Well, knowing your rights and causing trouble are two different things. You're disrupting our business. By existing while black?" The directness of it makes several people gasp. Madison's face flushes. If this kind of injustice makes your blood boil, hit that subscribe button to follow more stories of people standing up to discrimination. "How dare you?" Madison starts, but Simone cuts her off. "How dare I what? Name what's actually happening here? Your security followed me from the moment I entered. They watched me like I was a criminal. They confronted me for looking at jewelry. And now you're here, telling me I don't belong in your suitable establishment. If it's not about race, what is it about?" "It's about behavior," Madison says firmly. "Suspicious behavior." What suspicious behavior? Shopping, walking, breathing? Jennings jumps in. You were examining items without any intention to purchase. How could you possibly know my intentions? Experience, Rhiannon adds. We know the type. Those 3 words hang in the air like a confession. Even some of the onlookers shift uncomfortably. Simone nods slowly, as if he's just confirmed something she already knew. The type, she repeats. Would you care to elaborate on what type I am? Someone who doesn't belong here, Brennan says, apparently deciding subtlety is no longer necessary. Based on? Look, lady, Madison interrupts, clearly trying to regain control. We don't have to justify ourselves to you. This is our property. Leave now, or we'll call the police. Please do, Simone says, surprising them. Call them. I'd like to file a complaint about harassment and discrimination. Madison pulls out her phone but hesitates. It's one thing to threaten, another to actually involve law enforcement when dozens of people are recording. She looks around at the phones, calculating. Everyone needs to disperse, she announces to the crowd. This is a private matter. No one moves. I said disperse. Her voice rises, cracking slightly. A few people step back, but most hold their ground. One elderly woman actually moves closer. I've been shopping here for 30 years, the woman says, and I've never seen anything like this. You should be ashamed. Madison turns on her. Mrs. Patterson, this doesn't concern you. Injustice concerns everyone, Mrs. Patterson replies firmly. The situation is spiraling out of Madison's control, and everyone can see it. She makes a decision, lifting her phone to her ear. Yes, this is Madison Rothwell at Pine Grove Mall. We need police assistance at the main entrance. We have an individual refusing to leave the premises. Yes, trespassing. No violence, but she's creating a disturbance. Yes, please send someone immediately. She ends the call and looks at Simone triumphantly. The police are on their way. I suggest you leave now to avoid arrest. I'll wait, Simone says, crossing her arms. I want this documented officially. The next few minutes pass in tense silence. The crowd doesn't disperse, despite Madison's continued demands. The guards maintain their positions, blocking any path back into the mall. Simone stands perfectly still, her composure never wavering. When the police cruiser pulls up outside, visible through the glass doors, Madison straightens her blazer and puts on what she probably thinks is a concerned expression. 2 officers enter. The first, an older white man whose nameplate reads Vale, and the second, a younger officer named Harris. They assess the scene quickly, the black woman standing calmly, the agitated mall staff, the crowd with their phones. What's the situation here? Vale asks, his tone professionally neutral. Madison steps forward immediately. Officers, thank you for coming. This woman is trespassing. She's been asked to leave multiple times and refuses. She's also been harassing our staff and customers. Vale looks at Simone. Ma'am, is that accurate? No, Simone says simply. I was shopping when security confronted me without cause. I asked what I had done wrong, and they couldn't provide a legitimate answer. When I said I would leave to avoid escalation, they followed me here. Ms. Rothwell then arrived and made discriminatory comments about my suitability as a customer. I asked that they call you so I could file a complaint. She's lying, Madison interjects. She was acting suspiciously, casing our stores. Do you have evidence of that? Vale asks. Security footage? Madison hesitates. Well, our security observed her behavior. I see. Vale turns to the crowd. Did anyone witness what happened? Multiple voices speak up at once, most supporting Simone's version of events. Vale holds up a hand for quiet, then points to Mrs. Patterson. Ma'am, you seem like you saw what happened. Can you tell me? Mrs. Patterson nods. This young woman was doing nothing wrong. I saw her in 3 different stores, shopping normally. The security guards started following her for no reason I could see. Then they confronted her at Marcelli's. She was just looking at jewelry, same as I was 20 minutes earlier. Thank you. Vale turns back to Madison. Based on what I'm hearing, there doesn't seem to be cause for trespassing. She's disrupting our business, Madison insists. The disruption seems to be caused by your security's actions, not hers, Vale observes. He looks at Simone. Ma'am, would you like to file a complaint? Yes, Simone says. For discrimination and harassment. Madison's face goes red. This is ridiculous. We have the right to maintain security in our mall. You do, Vale agrees, but you can't violate civil rights in the process. Ma'am, he addresses Simone, I'll need to take your statement. Miss Rothwell, I'll need to speak with you and your security staff as well. The next hour is spent with statements being taken, information exchanged, and tensions slowly deflating. The crowd gradually disperses, though many continue recording. Simone provides her statement calmly, detailing each interaction with precision. She doesn't embellish or speculate, just states facts in a way that suggests she's done this before. When Vale finally closes his notepad, he looks tired. "Ms. Hartwell," he says, having gotten her name during the statement, "you're free to go, or to continue shopping if you prefer. Ms. Rothwell, your security staff need additional training on what constitutes reasonable suspicion. I'll be filing a report." "This is outrageous," Madison mutters. "What's outrageous," Vale says, "is that we keep getting called here for these kinds of incidents. This is the 4th one this month, all involving people of color. That's a pattern that's going to attract the wrong kind of attention for your mall." Madison opens her mouth to respond, then closes it. She knows he's right. The mall can't afford that kind of publicity. Simone watches this exchange with interest, filing the information about previous incidents away mentally. When Vale turns back to her, she nods politely. "Thank you, Officer Vale. I appreciate your professionalism." "Just doing my job, ma'am. Do you need anything else?" "No, I think I'll be going now. I've lost my interest in shopping for today." She walks past Madison and the security guards, through the automatic doors and into the afternoon sunlight. Behind her, she can hear Madison berating her security staff, but the words fade as she moves toward the parking lot. In her modest SUV, Simone sits for a moment before starting the engine. She pulls out her phone and opens a document labeled Pine Grove Assessment. Under a section marked Management Issues, she adds several bullet points about the incident. Then she scrolls to another section, Liability Concerns. The list there is already extensive. She makes a call. "Yes, it's Simone. The Pine Grove property? Worse than we thought. Significant liability issues. No, I handled it. Yes, I got everything documented. We'll discuss at tomorrow's meeting." As she drives away, she glances in the rearview mirror at the mall receding behind her. In 3 days, she'll own that building. But they don't need to know that yet. The memory of the encounter stays with her through the evening. Not because it was unusual. She's faced similar situations before, but because of how systematic it was. The coordination between security, the escalation to management, the attempted intimidation. It speaks to an institutional problem, not just individual prejudice. That night, she reviews the mall's financials again. The numbers tell one story: declining revenue, rising vacancies, struggling to compete with online retail. But today's incident tells another story, one about why certain demographics might avoid shopping there. The mall's own discrimination is contributing to its financial troubles, a self-defeating cycle they seem unable to recognize. She makes more notes, already planning her next visit. They've shown her their hand without realizing it. The security protocols, the management structure, the weak points in their legal compliance. Information is power, and they've given her plenty. 3 days pass. Simone returns to the mall early on a Tuesday morning, dressed similarly to before. Casual clothes that give no hint of her net worth or position. She parks in a different section this time, enters through a side entrance near the Barnes & Noble. Almost immediately, she notices the security guard watching her. Not Brennan or Jennings, but a new face. He follows at a distance as she browses the bookstore, pretending to check his phone whenever she looks his way. She selects a book on commercial real estate law, almost smiling at the irony, and heads to the checkout. The cashier, a young woman with kind eyes, rings her up without incident. But as Simone leaves the store, the security guard is joined by another. They follow her to the coffee shop, where she orders a large coffee and sits at a table with a clear view of the mall's main corridor. She pulls out her laptop, ostensibly to work, but really to observe. The morning crowd is thin, mainly elderly mall walkers and stay-at-home parents with young children. She notices things others wouldn't, the way certain stores have higher vacancy turnover, the deferred maintenance becoming more visible in daylight, the security patterns that focus disproportionately on certain shoppers while ignoring others. Her phone rings. "Hartwell," she answers. "Miss Hartwell, it's David from legal. The Pine Grove closing documents are ready for your review." "Thank you, David. Send them to my secure email. I'll review them this afternoon." "Will do. Also, the insurance assessment came back. There are some concerns about liability exposure." Related to several discrimination complaints filed in the last year. Their insurance carrier is threatening to raise premiums or drop coverage entirely. Simone glances at the security guards still watching her. "I'm not surprised. We'll need to factor that into our renovation budget." "Understood. Anything else?" "Yes. Start preparing a new security contract RFP. We'll need to replace the current company immediately after closing." "Already? We haven't even closed yet." "Trust me, it's necessary." She ends the call and returns to her coffee. The guards have moved closer, trying to appear casual but failing. She recognizes the pattern now. They're building a case, documenting her suspicious behavior to justify eventual action. She gives them what they want in a way. She walks through the mall slowly, stopping at various stores, but not entering most. To them, it probably looks like casing. To her, it's evaluation, checking foot traffic, observing customer demographics, assessing store performance. At the Macy's, she actually enters, heading to the women's professional wear section. She browses the racks, selecting a few items to try on. The sales associate, an older black woman named Dorothy according to her name tag, approaches with a genuine smile. "Finding everything okay?" "Yes, thank you," Simone replies. Dorothy lowers her voice slightly. "They giving you trouble?" Simone glances at the security guards hovering near the entrance. "They're trying." "Mm-hmm. They do that. Been doing it for years. Management doesn't care as long as the right people feel safe." She says right with barely concealed disdain. "Has anyone ever complained formally?" "Oh, honey, we've complained. To management, to corporate, even to the NAACP once. Nothing changes. Madison Rothwell has connections all the way up. Her brother-in-law is on the city council. Her cousin runs the police union. This place is locked up tight." Valuable information, delivered casually. Simone files it away. "That must be frustrating." "It's more than frustrating, it's degrading. But jobs are scarce, and I've got grandkids to help support." Dorothy straightens some hangers unnecessarily. "You be careful. They've been more aggressive lately. The mall's losing money, and they're looking for people to blame." "Instead of looking in the mirror?" Dorothy actually chuckles. "You get it. But mirrors don't work on vampires, and these folks are sucking the life out of this place." Simone selects a blazer and heads to the fitting room. While trying it on, she hears the security guards talking just outside, their voices carrying through the thin walls. "She's been here 2 hours, one says. "Classic reconnaissance pattern." "Should we call Madison?" the other asks. "Not yet. Let her make a move. Madison said to build a solid case this time. So Madison is orchestrating this. Not surprising, but good to have confirmed." Simone purchases the blazer, partly to confound their narrative, partly because it's actually nice, and continues her circuit of the mall. If you're as frustrated as we are by this kind of profiling, show your support by liking this video and sharing it with others who need to hear this story. By noon, the mall has gotten busier. The food court fills with lunch customers, and Simone decides to eat there, choosing a Vietnamese restaurant that makes excellent pho. As she waits for her order, she notices a commotion near the mall management office. A young Latino man is arguing with Madison Rothwell and another security guard. His voice carries, "You can't ban me for no reason. I work at the Apple store." "You were terminated yesterday," Madison says coldly. "That makes you a security risk." "I was terminated because I reported your security for profiling customers. This is retaliation. This is private property. Leave now or we'll have you arrested." The man looks around desperately, spots Simone watching, and seems to recognize her from somewhere. Probably social media posts about the incident 3 days ago. "This is what they do," he shouts to anyone listening. "They discriminate, then punish anyone who speaks up." Security moves to grab him, and he jerks away. "Don't touch me, I'm leaving." He storms toward the exit, but not before locking eyes with Simone again. There's a message there. "You see what this place is," she sees. She's been seeing for days now. Her food arrives, and she eats slowly, observing. Madison retreats to her office, probably to call her lawyer. The security guards return to their patterns. The mall continues its daily rhythm, unaware that its days under current management are numbered. After lunch, Simone visits the mall's administrative wing under the pretense of looking for the bathroom. She notes the office layouts, the security camera positions, the employee entrances, all information that will be useful soon. "Excuse me, you can't be back here." It's Bridget Cray, the assistant manager, appearing from an office like she was waiting. "I'm looking for the restroom," Simone says innocently. "The public restrooms are in the main corridor. This is employees only." "My mistake." Bridget steps closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "We know what you're doing. Madison has your picture posted in the security office. You're flagged as a potential threat." "A threat to what?" "To the safety and security of our customers." "All your customers? Or just the ones who look a certain way?" Bridget's face hardens. "Leave, now, or I'll call the police myself." Simone raises her hands in mock surrender. "I'm going." She walks back to the main corridor, aware of Bridget following to ensure she actually leaves the administrative area. It's almost comical, this level of paranoia over one woman shopping. At a jewelry store, not Marcelli's, but a smaller independent shop. She stops to look at watches. The owner, an elderly man named George, greets her warmly. "Looking for anything special?" "Just browsing," she says, then notices a beautiful vintage piece. "Actually, tell me about this one." George's eyes light up. He launches into the watch's history with obvious passion. They talk for 20 minutes about craftsmanship and heritage, a normal conversation between a seller and potential buyer. No suspicion, no following, no accusations. "You know," George says as she prepares to leave, "I saw what happened to you the other day. It was on Twitter. Shameful behavior." "You saw that?" "My granddaughter showed me. She was outraged, posted it everywhere." He shakes his head. "I've been here 15 years. The mall wasn't always like this. It changed when Madison took over 5 years ago. She brought in that security company, started all these new policies, drove away half our customers. Why do the store owners put up with it? What choice do we have? Our leases are ironclad. Breaking them would bankrupt us. We're trapped until the mall sells or our leases expire." "What if the mall did sell?" George laughs bitterly. "Who'd buy this dying place? Revenue is down 40%. We're hemorrhaging tenants. The discrimination lawsuits alone would scare away any investor." If only he knew who he was talking to. Simone thanks him for his time and moves on, but not before purchasing a modest silver bracelet, another small defiance of the security narrative that she's here to steal, not shop. The afternoon wears on. She visits 7 more stores, making small purchases in 3. Each transaction is recorded on security cameras, each receipt a piece of evidence that she's a legitimate customer. She's building her own case, counter to theirs. At 4 p.m., things escalate again. She's in the Target, looking at office supplies, when Kyle Jennings appears with 2 other guards she doesn't recognize. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." She doesn't look up from the notebook display. "Why?" "We've received multiple complaints about your behavior." Now she looks at him. "What complaints? From whom?" "That's confidential. You need to leave the premises immediately." "I'm shopping in Target. This is a public retail store. Within a private mall. We have authority here." She sets down the notebook she was examining. "Show me the complaints." "We don't have to show you anything." "Then I don't have to go anywhere." Jennings reaches for her arm, and she steps back quickly. "Do not touch me. That's assault." "You're trespassing." "I'm shopping. I have receipts from multiple stores today proving I'm a customer." "Doesn't matter. We're formally trespassing you now." He pulls out his phone, starts recording. "This is official notice that you, Simone Hartwell, are banned from Pine Grove Mall property. Any return will result in arrest for criminal trespass." "On what grounds?" "Suspicious behavior, disrupting business operations, and creating safety concerns. None of which you can actually prove." "We don't have to prove anything. This is private property." She looks directly at his phone camera. "I want it on record that I've done nothing wrong. I've been shopping peacefully. I have receipts. Witnesses can verify I've caused no disruption. This is discrimination, pure and simple." "You can file a complaint with management." "The management that's orchestrating this harassment?" He stops recording. "You have 5 minutes to leave, or we call the police." She considers her options. She could fight this now, but that's not strategic. Better to let them think they've won this round. In 72 hours, she'll own this place anyway. "I'll leave," she says, "but this isn't over." "It is for you," Jennings says smugly. "You're permanently banned. We have your photo. Every entrance will be watching for you." She walks toward the exit, the 3 guards following in formation. Other shoppers watch, some with sympathy, others with the satisfied look of people who think troublemakers are getting what they deserve. At the exit, Jennings makes one last power play. "If we see you here again, you'll be arrested on sight. No warnings, straight to jail." "I understand," she says calmly. "You've made your position very clear." As she walks to her car, she pulls out her phone and makes a call. "David, move the closing up. I want to own this place by Friday morning." "Yes, I know that's aggressive. Make it happen. Pay whatever premiums necessary, because by Monday I want new security and management in place." "Yes. Start the termination paperwork for Madison Rothwell and her entire team. For cause, discrimination, and creating hostile environment. I have all the documentation we need." She drives away, but not home. Instead, she goes to her attorney's office downtown. For the next 3 hours, they review every detail of the acquisition, the liability issues, and the plan for transformation. "You realize," her attorney Patricia says, "that firing Madison might trigger her political connections. Her brother-in-law won't be happy." "Let him be unhappy. We'll have federal law on our side. The documentation is extensive, not just my experience, but patterns going back years. The DOJ would love a case like this. Speaking of which, should we reach out to them proactively? Simone considers. Not yet. Let's see how Madison reacts first. If she fights the termination, we'll have federal investigators crawling all over this place within a week. They continue planning until well after dark. Every contingency is considered, every potential challenge anticipated. By the time Simone leaves, she has a comprehensive strategy not just for the acquisition, but for the complete transformation of Pine Grove Mall. Wednesday morning arrives gray and drizzly. Simone works from home, but her mind keeps returning to the mall. She pulls up the security footage that her investigator managed to obtain, completely legally through a contact at the insurance company. Watching herself being followed, seeing the guards coordinate their harassment, provides a strange out-of-body experience. She notices something interesting in the footage. Every time security confronts a person of color, Madison appears within minutes. It's like she's monitoring specifically for these situations, either to escalate or ensure they're handled to her satisfaction. The pattern is too consistent to be coincidental. Her phone buzzes with a text from David. Sellers agreed to expedited closing, Friday 9 a.m. Perfect. She responds with a thumbs up and returns to the footage. There's one segment that particularly catches her attention. It's from 2 weeks ago, showing a young black family being escorted out after their teenager was accused of shoplifting. The security footage from the store clearly shows the teenager never took anything, but that footage apparently wasn't reviewed before the family was humiliated and banned. She adds it to her growing file. Patricia was right. They have enough for a federal case if needed, but Simone prefers to handle things differently. Public litigation would hurt the mall's recovery. Better to clean house quietly and implement real changes that benefit everyone. Thursday is spent in final preparations. She meets with the new security company she's already vetted, a firm run by a former police chief who specialized in community policing and de-escalation. They review the mall's layout, discuss new protocols, and plan for a seamless transition. I want every current security employee interviewed, she tells them. Anyone who's been part of the discrimination stays fired. Anyone who tried to resist it or has a clean record gets offered retraining and a position with your firm. What about the management team? Gone, all of them. I've already identified replacements from our other properties. This is going to cause waves. Good. This place needs a tsunami of change. That evening, she can't resist one last look at the mall from the outside. She parks across the street, watching the Thursday night shoppers come and go. Tomorrow this all changes. Tomorrow, the hunters become the hunted. Friday morning dawns bright and clear. Simone dresses carefully. A designer suit she never wore to the mall before. Subtle but expensive jewelry. Shoes that cost more than most people's rent. It's armor for the battle ahead. The closing happens at the title company's office. The sellers, a real estate investment trust, are represented by 2 lawyers who seem eager to unload the troubled property. They have no idea who Simone really is. To them, she's just the representative of Hartwell Holdings LLC, another faceless investment company. Papers are signed, funds are transferred, and by 10 a.m., Simone owns Pine Grove Mall. Congratulations, one of the selling lawyers says. You've got yourself a challenging property there. I like challenges, Simone responds. She drives to the mall with her team, Patricia, David, the new security chief, and her operations manager. They park in the lot and walk toward the entrance as a group. The same entrance where she was escorted out days ago. The security guard at the door, it's Brennan, recognizes her immediately. His hand goes to his radio. You're banned. You can't be here. Actually, Simone says, pulling out the deed, I can. I own this place. Brennan's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, and then panic. That's impossible. Call Madison. Tell her the new owner is here for an inspection. He fumbles with his radio. Ms. Rothwell, you need to come to the main entrance. Now. It's urgent. They wait. Simone stands exactly where she stood a week ago, but everything has changed. The power dynamic has shifted completely, though only she and her team know it yet. Madison arrives within minutes, Bridget and Kyle in tow. She sees Simone and her face contorts with rage. Call the police! She's trespassing! Ms. Rothwell, Patricia steps forward. I'm Patricia Coleman, attorney for Hartwell Holdings LLC, the new owners of Pine Grove Mall. Ms. Hartwell is the managing partner. She has every right to be here. Madison stops mid-stride. What? David hands her a folder. The sale closed this morning. Effective immediately, there are changes to the management structure. Your termination letter is in there, along with those for your entire management team. You can't do this! We can and we have. Simone finally speaks, her voice calm as always. You're terminated for cause, discrimination, creating a hostile environment, and multiple violations of federal civil rights law. This is a setup. You planned this. I planned to buy this mall, yes. The discrimination was all you. Though I do appreciate you providing such thorough documentation of your methods. The security footage has been very educational. Madison's face has gone pale. What security footage? All of it. Every incident. Every wrongful ejection. Every civil rights violation. Your insurance company was very cooperative when they learned about our investigation. My brother-in-law is on the city council. You won't get away with this. Your brother-in-law is welcome to contact our legal department. Patricia hands her a business card. We have a full case file ready for the Department of Justice if anyone wants to challenge this termination. Bridget steps forward. What about us, the rest of the staff? The entire management team is terminated, David says. Security staff will be interviewed individually. Store employees are unaffected. We'll be bringing in new management Monday. Kyle, who's been silent, finally speaks. You can't just fire us all. Watch me, Simone says. She turns to the new security chief. Please escort these former employees to collect their personal belongings. They have 1 hour. Madison looks around desperately, as if hoping someone will intervene. This is illegal. No, Simone says, stepping closer. What was illegal was what you did to me and countless others. The harassment, the profiling, the discrimination. That was illegal. This is accountability. You set us up. You set yourselves up. I just documented it. The new security team arrives, a diverse group of professionals who move with quiet authority. They begin the process of taking over, checking systems, changing codes. The transition is swift and efficient. Madison makes one last attempt. The store owners won't stand for this. They respect me. George, the jewelry store owner, has been watching from his shop entrance. He calls out, "No, Madison, we tolerated you. There's a difference." Other store owners and employees have gathered, drawn by the commotion. As word spreads about what's happening, there are actual cheers from some quarters. Dorothy from Macy's approaches Simone. Is it true? You bought the mall? It's true. And Madison's gone? Along with her entire team. Dorothy actually tears up. Thank God. Thank you. The next hour is controlled chaos. Madison and her team are escorted out, their access revoked, their offices sealed pending review of files. Some go quietly, others protest, but all leave. Simone stands in the mall's center court, looking up at the skylights. Her operations manager approaches. What's the first priority? New signage, Simone says. Every entrance. All customers welcome. Discrimination has no place here. Make it prominent. That'll send a message. That's the point. If you believe in justice and accountability, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the conclusion of this incredible story. As the day progresses, Simone walks through her mall, really hers now, with a different perspective. Store owners approach her, some cautious, others hopeful. She listens to their concerns, their stories of lost customers, their hopes for revival. We used to do 40% more business, one tells her, before Madison drove everyone away. Those customers will come back, Simone assures him, once they know things have changed. She implements immediate changes. The new security is instructed to help, not hunt. Customer service becomes the priority. The hostile atmosphere that Madison cultivated begins to dissipate almost immediately, but she knows Madison won't go quietly. Sure enough, by afternoon, a news crew shows up. Madison has gone to the media with claims of wrongful termination and reverse discrimination. Simone watches from the security office as Madison performs for the cameras outside, playing the victim. It's a predictable move, but it needs to be countered. She calls Patricia. Release the footage. All of it? The highlights reel we prepared, every incident from the past month. Show the pattern. Within an hour, the footage is online. Social media explodes. The same people who filmed Simone's confrontation share the new footage, showing Madison's systematic discrimination. The narrative shifts quickly. By evening, Madison's brother-in-law, Councilman Richards, arrives at the mall. He demands to see Simone. She meets him in what used to be Madison's office. He's a big man who probably intimidates most people. But Simone has faced down corporate raiders and hostile takeovers. A small-town politician doesn't faze her. You've made a mistake, he starts. Have I? Madison has connections. This town protects its own. Its own being white people who discriminate? His face reddens. That's slander. It's observation. Your sister-in-law ran this mall like a private club. That ends now. We'll see about that. I can make things difficult for you. Permits, licenses, tax assessments. Patricia, who's been quietly recording, speaks up. Councilman, are you threatening economic retaliation against my client for lawful employment decisions? He realizes his mistake. I'm just saying, cooperation goes both ways. So does following federal law, Simone responds. Your choice. You can fight this and have the DOJ investigating every aspect of this town's operations, or you can accept that things are changing. He stands to leave, trying to salvage some dignity. This isn't over. You're right, Simone says. It's just beginning. After he leaves, she sits in the office that witnessed so much discrimination. Tomorrow she'll have it completely redecorated. New energy for a new era. Her phone rings. It's the investigator she hired weeks ago. Ms. Hartwell, I found something interesting in Madison's emails. What kind of something? Coordination with other malls in the region. They share lists of undesirable customers. Photos, names, descriptions. It's a whole network. A network? Of course. Madison wasn't operating in isolation. This is bigger than just Pine Grove. Document everything, she tells him. This might be our next acquisition opportunity. She ends the call and looks out at the mall floor below. Families are shopping, all kinds of families. The security guards are helping a mother with a stroller. A group of teenagers, the kind Madison would have ejected, are laughing by the fountain. This is what a mall should be. A community space. A place for everyone. There's still so much work to do. The culture Madison created won't disappear overnight. Some employees will resist the changes. Some customers who benefited from the discrimination will complain. But Simone has fought bigger battles. She's transformed hostile takeovers into thriving partnerships. She's turned failing companies into success stories. This mall will be her most personal transformation yet. As she prepares to leave for the day, she walks past Marcelli's, where this all started. The same jewelry case she was examining that first day catches her eye. She enters the store. The sales associate recognizes her, seems nervous. Miss Hartwell, I want to apologize for what happened. You didn't do anything wrong, Simone interrupts. You were just working. Still, I should have said something. Now you can. Now everyone can. She looks at the jewelry case again, at the piece that started everything, a vintage brooch with an interesting design. I'll take it, she says. Really? Really? I was shopping that day, remember? I actually wanted to buy it. The transaction completes without incident. No suspicion, no security, no harassment. Just a customer making a purchase, as it should be. Walking to her car with the small bag, Simone reflects on the week's events. From banned customer to mall owner in 7 days. It sounds like a movie plot. Too neat, too convenient. But the reality is messier. There will be lawsuits. Madison won't go quietly. There will be challenges. Changing an institutional culture takes time. There will be setbacks. Not everyone will embrace the new direction, but there will also be progress. Families returning, businesses thriving, a community healing. Her phone buzzes with a text from her assistant. 3 more malls in the portfolio are showing similar patterns. Want to discuss Monday? She smiles. Pine Grove was just the beginning. As she drives away, she passes Madison being interviewed by another news crew in the parking lot. The woman is gesticulating wildly, playing victim to anyone who will listen. Let her talk, Simone thinks. The footage speaks louder than words. The community knows the truth, and soon, the Department of Justice will too. Monday morning will bring new challenges. The real work of transformation begins then. But tonight, she'll celebrate. Not the acquisition, she's done dozens of those, but the justice, the accountability, the chance to make real change. Her phone rings. It's Dorothy from Macy's. Ms. Hartwell, I just wanted to say thank you again. You don't know what this means to us. I think I do, Simone responds. I've been on your side of this. But you fought back. We all fought back. You by surviving it. Me by ending it. Together, we won. After the call, she makes one more stop. The city council is in session, and public comment is open. She signs up to speak. When her turn comes, she stands at the podium and looks directly at Councilman Richards. My name is Simone Hartwell. I'm the new owner of Pine Grove Mall. I'm here to put the council on notice. The days of discrimination disguised as security are over. Any attempt to retaliate against my business will be met with federal investigation. Any effort to protect the old guard will be exposed. Change is here whether you embrace it or not. Richard's face is stone, but other council members look uncomfortable. They know the liability she represents. Furthermore, she continues, I'll be establishing a fund for anyone who experienced discrimination at Pine Grove to seek legal remedies. The mall will cooperate fully with any investigations. You're going to destroy this town's economy, Richard says, breaking protocol. No, I'm going to save it. Your sister-in-law was driving customers away. I'm bringing them back. All of them. She leaves the council chambers to scattered applause from the gallery. Word is spreading. The new owner isn't just changing policies, she's changing the game. The weekend passes in a blur of planning and preparation. By Sunday night, everything is ready for the mall's rebirth. Monday morning, she arrives early. The new management team is already in place, briefing staff on the changes. The new security protocols are active. The welcome signs are prominent at every entrance. But the real test is the customers. Will they come? Will they trust that things have changed? By noon, she has her answer. The parking lot is fuller than it's been in months. Families who hadn't visited in years are returning, drawn by news of the changes. The food court is bustling. Stores are making sales. George from the jewelry store finds her. It's like the old days, he says, eyes bright. Before Madison, when everyone felt welcome. This is just the start, she tells him. But even in success, there are reminders of the work ahead. She overhears a white customer complaining about the Element returning to the mall. She sees an employee giving side-eye to a group of black teenagers. Change takes time. But at least now, there's accountability. The teenagers aren't harassed. The complaining customer is politely reminded that all are welcome. Tuesday brings the first legal challenge. Madison has filed a wrongful termination suit, claiming age and gender discrimination. It's laughable given the evidence against her, but it still needs to be addressed. Patricia handles it with her usual efficiency. She's fishing. Her lawyer knows they don't have a case, but they're hoping for a settlement. No settlements, Simone says firmly. We go to court. Let all the evidence come out publicly. That could get expensive. Some things are worth the cost. Wednesday, the Department of Justice calls. They've received multiple complaints about Pine Grove and want to discuss. Simone schedules a meeting, eager to share what she's discovered. Thursday, something unexpected happens. Brennan, the security guard who first confronted her, asks to meet. She agrees, curious. He arrives at her office nervous, humble, a complete change from his previous demeanor. I wanted to apologize, he starts. I was wrong. I was following orders, but that's no excuse. Why the change of heart? I saw the footage, all of it. Saw myself through others' eyes. I didn't like what I saw. She studies him. He seems sincere, but she's learned to be cautious. I have a daughter, he continues. She's mixed race. Her mother is black. When I saw myself on that footage, I thought, what if someone treated her that way? It broke me. What do you want from me? Nothing, just to apologize. And maybe to ask if there's any way I could earn a second chance. Not for the same job. I know that bridge is burned, but maybe something else. Stockroom, maintenance, anything. It's a hard decision. He was part of the problem. But people can change, and redemption should be possible for those who genuinely seek it. I'll think about it, she says. No promises. He nods, understanding more than he probably deserves. Thank you for listening. After he leaves, she contemplates the complexities of justice versus mercy. Some, like Madison, show no remorse and deserve no second chances. Others, like Brennan, might genuinely want to change. Friday marks 1 week since the acquisition. The mall is transforming before her eyes. Sales are up 20%. 3 new stores have signed leases. The atmosphere has completely changed. But the biggest victory comes that afternoon. The insurance company, after reviewing the new policies and security protocols, not only agrees to maintain coverage, but actually reduces the premium. Discrimination is expensive, the agent tells her. Inclusion is profitable. If only more businesses understood that equation. The second week of ownership brings unexpected challenges. Monday morning, Simone arrives to find protesters outside the mall, but not the kind she expected. They're Madison's supporters, holding signs reading "Reverse Discrimination" and "Protect Local Business." Local news crews are already filming. Councilman Richards stands at the center, speaking into a megaphone. This hostile takeover represents everything wrong with outside corporations destroying local communities. Simone watches from the security office with her team. The new security chief, Marcus Thompson, shakes his head. Want us to move them along? They're blocking the entrance. No, Simone says. Let them protest, but document everything. If they harass customers, then we act. She notices something interesting in the crowd. Most of the protesters are Madison's personal friends and their employees, not actual mall customers. The real community is notably absent from this grassroots demonstration. Her phone buzzes. It's the investigator. Ms. Hartwell, I found something significant. Madison was receiving kickbacks from the security company. They were billing the mall for 40 hours per guard per week, but only scheduling 30. The difference went into an account controlled by Madison. Embezzlement. That changes everything. Get me the documentation, she says. Every receipt, every deposit, everything. Patricia, who's been listening, smiles grimly. That's federal fraud. Her wrongful termination suit just evaporated. Outside, the protest continues. But inside the mall, something beautiful is happening. The stores are full of diverse customers, all shopping peacefully. The very scene Madison tried so hard to prevent is playing out successfully, proving the protesters wrong with every transaction. Dorothy from Macy's approaches Simone during her morning walkthrough. Miss Hartwell, I wanted you to know. Our sales are up 30% since you took over. Customers who hadn't been here in years are coming back. That's wonderful, Dorothy. There's more. That young man Madison had banned, the one from the Apple store, he's here asking if you'll reconsider his termination. He was one of our best employees before he spoke up about the profiling. Simone finds the young man, Carlos Mendez, sitting in the food court. He looks nervous but determined. Mr. Mendez, tell me what happened. Carlos straightens. I worked at the Apple store for 2 years. Perfect reviews. Then I saw security harassing an elderly black man who was buying an iPad for his granddaughter. I reported it to my manager, who told Madison. Next day, I was terminated for attitude problems. Do you have documentation? Everything, emails, my reviews, even a recording of my manager saying Madison wanted me gone. Another piece of evidence, another nail in Madison's legal coffin. Report to Apple Store tomorrow morning, Simone tells him. I'll speak with the manager about reinstatement. His face lights up. Really? With back pay from your wrongful termination. As Carlos leaves, practically floating, Simone notices the protesters outside are dwindling. Reality is setting in. Their cause is lost. Tuesday brings a visit from the Department of Justice. 2 investigators, Agent Sarah Chen and Agent James Williams, arrive for their scheduled meeting. Simone has prepared extensively. In the conference room, she lays out everything. The footage, the emails, the coordination with other malls, the embezzlement evidence. The agents take notes, occasionally exchanging meaningful glances. This is extensive, Agent Chen says. You've documented a clear pattern of civil rights violations. And now the fraud, Agent Williams adds. That makes this a multifaceted federal case. We're not just interested in prosecution, Simone clarifies. We want systemic change, a consent decree that ensures this never happens again. That's possible, Chen says. But we'll need cooperation from local authorities. The police department was complicit. Simone shows them footage of officers responding to Madison's calls without questioning obviously false complaints. They need oversight too. Williams whistles low. You're taking on the whole town. I'm fixing what's broken, Simone corrects. The town can join me or fight me, but the outcome will be the same. The agents spend 3 hours reviewing evidence. When they leave, Chen shakes Simone's hand. We'll be in touch. This is priority now. That afternoon, the mall's atmosphere shifts. Word has somehow spread that federal agents were on site. Employees whisper nervously. Some of Madison's remaining allies look panicked. Bridget Cray, Madison's former assistant, approaches Simone in the parking lot. I want to make a deal. You were terminated. You shouldn't be here. I have information about Madison. Things you don't know. Simone considers. Talk to my attorney. If your information is valuable and you cooperate with federal investigators, we might consider not pursuing charges against you. Charges? You participated in discrimination and filed false reports. That's criminal. Bridget goes pale. I was just following orders. So were the guards at Nuremberg. It wasn't an excuse then either. Wednesday, the dam breaks. The local newspaper, which had been supporting Madison, receives the embezzlement evidence from an anonymous source, actually Simone's investigator following her instructions. The headline reads, Mall manager accused of stealing hundreds of thousands. Madison's support evaporates overnight. Councilman Richards distances himself publicly. The protest organizers claim they were misled. The narrative shifts completely, but Simone isn't satisfied with just winning. She wants transformation. She holds a town hall in the mall's center court Thursday evening. The space is packed with store owners, employees, and community members. She stands before them without notes, speaking from the heart. This mall belongs to all of you, she begins. Every customer, regardless of race, religion, or background. Every employee who works honestly. Every store owner who serves fairly. The discrimination that infected this place ends now and forever. An older white woman raises her hand. But what about security? How will you keep us safe? Safe from what? Simone asks. From families shopping? From teenagers hanging out? Real security means everyone feels welcome and protected, not just those who look a certain way. Marcus Thompson, the new security chief, speaks up. Our officers are trained in de-escalation and community policing. We're here to help, not hunt. A black father with 2 young children stands. My family was banned 6 months ago. My son accidentally knocked over a display, and security treated us like criminals. Can we really come back? You're welcome here, Simone says firmly. That ban and every discriminatory ban is lifted. This is your mall, too. The questions continue for an hour. Some hostile, most hopeful. Simone answers each honestly, building trust one response at a time. Friday brings unexpected news. Madison has been arrested on federal fraud charges. The image of her being led away in handcuffs leads every local newscast. Councilman Richards is notably silent, but there's no time for celebration. Work continues. Over the weekend, Simone implements more changes. A community board is established with diverse membership to oversee mall policies. Cultural events are planned to celebrate the area's diversity. Store owners are offered training on inclusive customer service. Monday of week 3, Officer Vale visits. The same officer who responded to that first incident seems different now. Humbled, perhaps. Ms. Hartwell, I wanted to apologize. I should have done more when I saw the pattern of discrimination. You could have, yes. I was afraid. Madison had connections. Standing up to her meant risking my career. And now? Now I see the cost of staying silent. Good people were hurt while I did nothing. She studies him. Unlike Madison's crowd, he seems genuinely remorseful. The DOJ will be investigating the police department's role, she tells him. Cooperate fully. Tell the truth. That's how you make amends. He nods. I will. And Ms. Hartwell? What you're doing here, it matters. My daughter, she's biracial. I want her to grow up in a better world than the one Madison was creating. After he leaves, Simone reflects on the ripple effects of change. It's not just about one mall or one town. It's about setting an example that others might follow. Tuesday, she receives a call that changes everything. It's from the CEO of the real estate trust that sold her the mall. Ms. Hartwell, I'll be direct. We own 12 more properties with similar issues. We've been watching your transformation of Pine Grove. Would you be interested in acquiring our entire portfolio? 12 malls, 12 communities that could be transformed. I'm interested, she says, but only if I have complete authority to clean house. After seeing what you've accomplished and the federal heat on Madison, you'd have carte blanche. They arrange a meeting for next week. The possibility of systemic change on a larger scale energizes her. Wednesday brings more good news. 3 major retailers that had been considering leaving Pine Grove have renewed their leases, citing the improved atmosphere and increasing sales. The mall's revival is becoming undeniable. But not everyone is happy. That afternoon, Kyle Jennings, the former security guard, confronts her in the parking lot. You ruined my life, he says, clearly intoxicated. Can't get a job anywhere because of what you did. What you did, she corrects, maintaining distance. Your actions have consequences. Madison was right about you people, he slurs. Coming in, taking over, destroying everything. She activates her phone's recording. Mr. Jennings, you're on private property that you've been banned from. Leave now, or I'll call the police. Call them, they're on our side. But when the police arrive, it's Officer Vale who responds. He looks at Jennings with disgust. Kyle, you're drunk and trespassing. Let's go. You're arresting me? I'm one of us. There is no us anymore, Vale says, cuffing him. There's just right and wrong, and you're on the wrong side. As Jennings is driven away, Simone realizes the town really is changing. Slowly, painfully, but genuinely. Thursday's mail brings a thick envelope from Madison's attorney. She's dropping her wrongful termination suit and offering to provide evidence against her co-conspirators in exchange for reduced charges on the fraud case. Patricia reviews it with satisfaction. She's turning on everyone. Richards, the police chief who ignored the discrimination, even the security company executives. Letter, Simone says. The more truth that comes out, the better. Friday afternoon, something remarkable happens. A group of young people, diverse in every way, organize a unity shopping day at the mall. Hundreds show up to support the new inclusive policies. The mall is busier than it's been in years. Simone watches from the upper level as families of all backgrounds mix freely, shopping and dining together. This is what Madison feared, and exactly what makes the mall thrive. George from the jewelry store finds her. In my 15 years here, this is the best day we've ever had, not just in sales, but in spirit. That evening, she gets a call from her assistant. Ms. Hartwell, you're trending on social media. The video of you revealing you own the mall has gone viral. 15 million views and climbing. She pulls up the video on her phone. Someone compiled the security footage of her harassment with the moment she revealed ownership set to dramatic music. The comments are overwhelmingly supportive, with people sharing their own discrimination experiences. One comment catches her eye. "This is what accountability looks like. Every racist manager's nightmare, the person you discriminated against becomes your boss." The weekend brings national media attention. Requests for interviews pour in, but Simone declines most. This isn't about fame, it's about change. Monday of week 4, she meets with the Real Estate Trust CEO. The portfolio they're offering includes malls in 12 states, all struggling with similar issues: discriminatory management driving away customers. "I'll need significant capital," she tells him. "Already arranged. Several impact investors are interested. They see the Pine Grove transformation as proof of concept." They negotiate through the day. By evening, they have a preliminary agreement. 12 malls, $2 billion in total value, with Simone having complete operational control. "One condition," she adds. "A portion of profits goes to a fund for discrimination victims and community development." "That might concern the investors." "Non-negotiable. This is about more than money." He agrees. The deal will close in 60 days. Tuesday, the Department of Justice announces a comprehensive investigation into Pine Grove's previous management and the city's complicity. Madison, facing mounting federal charges, agrees to cooperate fully. Her cooperation leads to Wednesday's bombshell. Councilman Richards is arrested for accepting bribes from the security company. The same company that was overcharging the mall, while providing discriminatory service, was paying Richards to prevent oversight. The city council holds an emergency meeting Thursday. Simone attends, watching as they scramble to distance themselves from Richards. When public comment opens, she speaks. "This council has a choice: continue the old ways and face federal oversight, or join us in creating a truly inclusive community. The choice is yours, but the outcome is inevitable." The council votes unanimously to cooperate with federal investigators and implement new anti-discrimination ordinances. It's self-preservation disguised as righteousness, but Simone will take it. Friday brings a surprise visitor, Brennan, the former security guard who'd apologized weeks earlier. He's been volunteering at a community center, working with at-risk youth. "I wanted you to know," he says, "your words changed me. I'm in therapy, dealing with my biases. I'm trying to be better." "Actions matter more than words," she tells him. "I know, that's why I'm here. The community center needs funding. I know I have no right to ask, but would you consider sponsoring programs there?" She considers. Redemption should be possible for those who genuinely work for it. Submit a proposal. If the programs genuinely help all youth, not just those who look like you, we'll consider it. His gratitude is genuine. People can change, she thinks, but only when they're held accountable first. The weekend marks 1 month since the acquisition. The mall hosts its first Cultural Heritage Festival, celebrating the diverse communities in the area. Food, music, and art from dozens of cultures fill the space. Madison would have hated it, which makes it perfect. Monday of week 5 brings legal proceedings. Madison's trial begins, with federal prosecutors laying out a devastating case of fraud, civil rights violations, and conspiracy. Simone testifies, calmly recounting her experiences and presenting evidence. Madison watches from the defense table, her previous arrogance replaced by defeat. Her attorney tries to cross-examine Simone, but fails to shake her testimony. "You targeted my client specifically to take over the mall, didn't you?" he asks. "I targeted a failing property with bad management. Your client targeted me because of my race. There's a significant difference." The jury seems to agree. Tuesday, while the trial continues, life at the mall goes on. Sales reports show a 40% increase since the takeover. Store owners are ecstatic. Employee morale has never been higher. Carlos, reinstated at the Apple Store, finds Simone during her morning rounds. "Ms. Hartwell, I wanted to thank you again, and to let you know, I'm starting a diversity committee for mall employees. Would you support it?" "Absolutely. Real change comes from within the community." Wednesday brings verdict. Madison is found guilty on all counts. Sentencing will come later, but she faces significant federal prison time. The security company executives are also convicted. Richards pleads guilty to avoid trial. Justice, Simone thinks, but not celebration. Too many people were hurt for too long. Thursday, she holds another town hall. This time, the questions are different, forward-looking rather than fearful. "Will you bring in new stores?" one asks. "Several are already in negotiation." "What about jobs for local youth?" "We're starting an apprenticeship program next month." "Can we make the cultural festival monthly?" "If the community supports it, absolutely." The fear has been replaced by hope. The transformation is taking root. Friday, she gets a call from the investigator. "Ms. Hartwell, we've discovered something." Madison's network extends beyond malls. There's a whole system of discriminatory businesses sharing undesirable customer lists. How extensive? Hundreds of businesses across multiple states. It's a modern version of Jim Crow, hiding behind private property rights. This is bigger than she imagined. But now she has resources, evidence, and federal backing. Document everything, she tells him. This becomes our next fight. The weekend brings unexpected support. A coalition of civil rights organizations reaches out, wanting to partner on the larger initiative. Major corporations, seeing the public relations disaster of discrimination, pledge to review their security contracts. Monday of week 6, Simone meets with her new investors for the 12-mall deal. They've all seen the Pine Grove success and want to replicate it across the portfolio. Each property will need similar intervention, she explains. Cleaning house, new policies, community engagement. The Pine Grove model, one investor says. We're fully behind it. They sign the papers. 12 more communities will soon experience transformation. Tuesday, Madison's sentencing arrives. 5 years federal prison, 3 years probation, and restitution to all documented victims. It's the maximum sentence, meant to send a message. Outside the courthouse, reporters ask Simone for comment. Justice was served, she says simply. Now we focus on healing and prevention. Wednesday brings news that the DOJ is expanding its investigation based on the business network the investigator discovered. What started as one mall's transformation is becoming a national reckoning on retail discrimination. Thursday, Officer Vale visits again. He's been promoted to head a new community policing initiative, partly because of his cooperation with federal investigators. I wanted you to know, he says. We're implementing new training based on what happened here. Every officer will learn about implicit bias and de-escalation. Training is good, Simone responds. Accountability is better. That too. We're creating a civilian oversight board. Would you consider serving? She agrees. Change requires participation at every level. Friday marks 6 weeks since the acquisition. The mall is unrecognizable from Madison's era. Vibrant, diverse, welcoming. Sales are up 50%. New stores are opening. The parking lot is full. But the work isn't done. That evening, reviewing the numbers with her team, Simone outlines the next phase. We've proven the model here. Now we replicate it 12 times over. Then we tackle the wider network. It's ambitious, Patricia says. Necessary, Simone corrects. Every day we delay, people face discrimination. That's unacceptable. The weekend brings a celebration, not of victory, but of community. The mall hosts a New Beginning festival with local leaders, store owners, and customers sharing stories of change. Dorothy from Macy's speaks, "For years I watched good people turned away for no reason except prejudice. Now my granddaughter can shop here without fear. That's worth everything." George adds, "My business is thriving because everyone feels welcome. Inclusion isn't just right, it's profitable." Even Brennan, continuing his redemption journey, speaks, "I was part of the problem. Now I'm working to be part of the solution." Change is possible if we're honest about our failures. The festival draws thousands. Local news covers it positively. The narrative has completely shifted. Pine Grove is now a model for inclusive retail spaces. Monday of week 7, Simone begins visiting the 12 new properties. Each has its own Madison, its own discriminatory systems. But now she has a playbook and a team ready to implement change. The first visit is to a mall in Georgia. The security immediately profiles her, not knowing who she is. It's Pine Grove all over again, but this time she's ready. When they try to escort her out, she reveals her identity as the new owner. The shock on their faces is familiar, but still satisfying. Another cleaning house begins. By Friday, she's visited 5 properties, terminating discriminatory management at each. The pattern is consistent: security companies overcharging while targeting minorities, management taking kickbacks, local authorities complicit. But something else is consistent too. Communities ready for change, employees tired of participating in discrimination, customers eager to return to welcoming spaces. The weekend brings reflection. In her office at Pine Grove, now a center of transformation, Simone considers the journey, from being harassed as a customer to owning the entire mall, and now 13 of them. Her phone rings. It's Agent Chen from the DOJ. "Ms. Hartwell, based on your evidence and cooperation, we're launching a nationwide initiative against retail discrimination. Would you testify before Congress?" "When?" "Next month. Your story could change federal law." "I'll be there." Monday of week 8 brings full circle. The Apple store where Carlos works is having a sales event. Simone stops by to see him thriving in his reinstated position. He's training new employees, teaching them about inclusive customer service. "You saved my career," he tells her. "You saved it yourself by speaking up. I just made sure justice was served." As she walks through the mall, she notices all the small changes that add up to transformation. security guards helping elderly customers with packages, diverse families shopping together, teenagers hanging out without harassment, store owners greeting all customers equally. This is what victory looks like. Not dramatic confrontations, but daily normality where everyone belongs. Tuesday, Madison's former office is finally renovated. Simone has turned it into a community space where people can report discrimination, seek resources, or just talk. The walls display photos from the cultural festival and New Beginning celebration, images Madison would have feared but that represent the mall's future. Wednesday brings news that 2 of Madison's co-conspirators have been convicted and sentenced. The security company has lost all its contracts in the state. The network of discrimination is crumbling. Thursday, a group of business students visits to study the Pine Grove transformation as a case study in turning around failing properties through inclusive practices. Simone speaks to them candidly. Discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's bad business. We increased revenue 50% in 2 months just by welcoming everyone. Any business that chooses prejudice over profit deserves to fail. Friday brings another surprise. The mayor, who had stayed silent during the controversy, asks to meet. He arrives at Simone's office nervous but determined. "Ms. Hartwell, I owe you an apology. I knew what was happening but didn't act. Political cowardice." Acknowledgement is a start. What happens next? "I want to make Pine Grove a model city for inclusion. Will you help?" She agrees, conditionally. Real change requires government partnership, even with flawed partners willing to improve. The weekend marks 2 months since acquisition. The mall hosts a job fair focused on hiring from underserved communities. Hundreds attend, and dozens are hired on the spot. One applicant, a young black woman named Jasmine, tells Simone, "I never applied here before. Everyone knew Madison wouldn't hire people like us." "That era is over," Simone assures her. "Your qualifications matter, nothing else." Jasmine is hired by the mall's administration team, another small victory in the larger war against discrimination. Monday of week 9, Congress calls. The hearing on retail discrimination is scheduled. Simone will testify alongside other victims and experts. Federal legislation is being drafted based partly on the Pine Grove evidence. She prepares carefully, knowing this testimony could affect millions. Patricia helps craft a statement that's powerful but legally precise. Tuesday, she returns to the Georgia Mall she'd visited weeks earlier. The transformation is already visible. Diverse customers, new security, cleaned-out management. The local community has embraced the changes even faster than Pine Grove. Wednesday brings unexpected news. Brennan, the former guard on his redemption journey, has been accepted to college for criminal justice studies. He plans to become a civil rights lawyer. "Your story inspired me," he tells her. "I want to spend my life fighting the discrimination I once enforced." Redemption is possible, she thinks, for those who truly commit to change. Thursday, the final numbers come in for Pine Grove's second month under new ownership. Revenue is up 60%. Every store is profitable. The mall's value has increased by 30%. "You've proven discrimination literally costs money," her CFO tells her. "Inclusion is the better investment." Friday, she flies to Washington for the congressional hearing. In her hotel room, she reviews her testimony one final time. Tomorrow, she'll tell her story to the nation. Saturday morning, the hearing room is packed. Media, activists, and citizens fill every seat. Simone sits at the witness table, calm and prepared. "State your name for the record," the committee chair says. "Simone Hartwell, managing partner of Hartwell Holdings LLC and owner of 13 retail properties." "Ms. Hartwell, please tell us about your experience with retail discrimination." She begins with that first day at Pine Grove, the security following her, the accusations, the attempted ejection. But she doesn't stop there. She details the systematic nature of discrimination, the network of businesses sharing undesirable lists, the complicity of local authorities. "This isn't about isolated incidents," she explains. "It's about a system designed to exclude certain Americans from public accommodations. It's Jim Crow in a modern suit." The committee asks probing questions. She answers with facts, evidence, and personal experience. The room is silent except for her voice and the clicking of cameras. "What would you recommend for federal action?" one congressman asks. "Strengthen enforcement of existing civil rights law. Remove qualified immunity for discriminatory acts. Require transparency in security policies, and create real consequences for businesses that discriminate." When her testimony ends, the gallery erupts in applause despite the chair's attempts to maintain order. Afterward, reporters surround her. "Ms. Hartwell, what's next?" "Implementation. 13 malls are just the beginning. Every American deserves to shop, work, and exist without discrimination. We won't stop until that's reality." She flies home that evening, exhausted but energized. The fight is far from over, but momentum is building. Sunday, she returns to Pine Grove. Walking through the mall, she sees Madison's nightmare realized, a truly integrated space where everyone belongs. Children of all races play together at the playground. Elderly couples of various ethnicities share meals in the food court. Teenagers diverse in every way hang out without harassment. This is America as it should be. Her phone buzzes. It's a message from Agent Chen. Your testimony is making waves. DOJ is creating a task force based on your recommendations. Real change is coming. Monday of week 10 brings unexpected visitors. A delegation from a major retail chain wants to study the Pine Grove model for their 800 stores nationwide. We've seen your results, their CEO says. Not just the moral imperative, but the business case. Help us implement this everywhere. This is how systemic change happens, not just through enforcement, but through proving the better way is also the more profitable way. By Friday, 3 more major chains have reached out. The Pine Grove model is becoming an industry standard. Saturday marks the 3-month anniversary of the acquisition. The mall hosts a celebration that draws thousands. Politicians who once supported Madison now praise the transformation. Business leaders cite it as a model. Community members share stories of how the changes have affected their lives. Simone speaks last. 3 months ago, I was banned from this mall for shopping while black. Today, we've proven that inclusion isn't just morally right, it's economically essential. But we're not done. This is just the beginning. The crowd erupts in cheers, but Simone is already thinking ahead. 13 malls down, hundreds more to go. The network of discrimination still exists, weakened but not destroyed. That evening, in what was once Madison's office, she video calls her team managing the other 12 properties. Each reports similar success: increased revenue, community support, dismantled discrimination. Phase 1 is complete, she tells them. Phase 2 begins Monday. What's Phase 2? Someone asks. We go after the entire network. Every business sharing discriminatory lists, every security company profiling customers, every manager who thinks prejudice is profitable. Sunday, she allows herself 1 day of rest. But even resting, she's planning. The congressional testimony has opened doors. Major investors are calling. Civil rights organizations want to partner. Monday arrives with news that Madison has lost her appeal. She'll serve her full sentence. But more importantly, her case has set precedent. Retail discrimination will now be prosecuted federally. Tuesday, Simone gets a call that surprises her. It's from another billionaire, someone she's known professionally for years. Simone, what you've done is remarkable. I want in. I have 50 properties that need transformation. Same terms as your current investors. You have complete control. 50 more properties. The scale is becoming transformational. By Wednesday, she's assembled a team to handle the expansion. Lawyers, managers, security professionals, community liaisons, all committed to the inclusive model. Thursday brings news that Congress has passed the Fair Shopping Act, based partly on her testimony. It strengthens penalties for retail discrimination and requires transparency in security policies. Friday, she stands in Pine Grove's center court, watching the diverse crowd shop freely. Dorothy from Macy's approaches. Ms. Hartwell, my granddaughter wrote you a letter. The letter in a child's handwriting reads, "Thank you for making the mall safe for everyone. Now I can shop with my friends without being scared." This is why she fights. The weekend brings reflection and planning. In 3 months, she's transformed 13 properties, influenced federal law, and started dismantling a network of discrimination. But there's so much more to do. Monday morning, she convenes her expanded team. The map on the wall shows properties across the nation, each a potential transformation. Every red pin, she says, pointing to dozens of locations, represents a property where people face discrimination. Our job is to turn them all green. That could take years, someone observes. Then we'd better get started. As the meeting progresses, her phone buzzes with a text from Carlos at the Apple store. Miss Hartwell, thought you should know. A young black girl just bought her first iPhone here. She told her mom she felt safe shopping alone for the first time. You did that. No, Simone thinks. We all did that. By refusing to accept discrimination. By fighting for change. By proving that inclusion works. The transformation of Pine Grove Mall is complete. But the transformation of American retail has just begun. Standing in the mall she now owns, watching families of all backgrounds shop in peace, Simone remembers that first day when security demanded she leave immediately. She did leave that day, but she came back as owner. And now, nobody will ever be unjustly told to leave again. The intercom crackles with an announcement. Pine Grove Mall welcomes all customers. Discrimination has no place here. Madison would hate it, which makes it perfect. As Simone walks through her mall one more time, she passes the jewelry store where it all started. George waves from inside. busy with customers of every description. The security guards are helping, not hunting. The atmosphere is one of prosperity through inclusion. This is victory. Not just owning the mall that discriminated against her, but transforming it into a beacon of what America can be when prejudice gives way to justice, when fear surrenders to hope, when exclusive becomes inclusive. The fight continues tomorrow. More malls to transform, more discrimination to dismantle, more communities to heal. But today, in this place where she was once unwelcome, everyone belongs. And that changes everything. 6 months after the acquisition, Simone stands before a packed auditorium at Harvard Business School. She's been invited to deliver the keynote address for their annual conference on ethical leadership in modern business. The very institution that once published case studies on maintaining brand exclusivity now wants to learn about inclusive transformation. The old model of retail security was built on fear, she tells the audience of future business leaders. Fear of the other, fear of change, fear of losing control. But fear is expensive. In the 13 malls I initially acquired, discriminatory practices were costing an average of $12 million annually in lost revenue per property. That's before we factor in legal costs, insurance premiums, and the immeasurable cost of human dignity. A student raises her hand. Ms. Hartwell, critics say you weaponize your wealth to destroy a woman who is just doing her job. How do you respond? Simone considers the question carefully. Madison Rothwell wasn't just doing her job. She was systematically violating federal law while embezzling funds. But more importantly, she was destroying lives. Every person wrongfully banned, every teenager humiliated, every family made to feel unwelcome. Those were real people with real pain. I didn't destroy Madison. I held her accountable. The moderator interjects with another question. Your expansion to 75 properties has been called the largest anti-discrimination initiative in retail history. What's been the biggest challenge? Changing hearts, not just policies, Simone answers. You can fire discriminatory managers and replace security companies, but changing the culture takes time. We've had to retrain thousands of employees, not just on what they can't do, but on why inclusion matters. After the lecture, she's approached by a young black woman who waits until the crowd disperses. Ms. Hartwell, I'm Keisha. 2 years ago, I was arrested at a mall in Atlanta. False shoplifting accusation. I was pre-law at Spelman, and it almost destroyed my future. The mall security had me on their watch list because I'd returned expensive items I'd bought with my scholarship refund. Simone listens intently. That mall is one of yours now, Keisha continues. Last month, I went back for the first time. The same security guard who arrested me was gone, but the cashier who had called security was still there. She apologized to me, said the new training opened her eyes to her assumptions. She cried, Ms. Hartwell, and so did I. What happened with your legal career? I graduated last month, starting at the DOJ Civil Rights Division in the fall. Your story inspired me to turn my trauma into purpose. These moments, Simone thinks, make everything worthwhile. Flying back from Boston, she reviews the latest reports. The 75 properties now under her management have seen an average revenue increase of 45%. But more importantly, discrimination complaints have dropped to near zero. The model is working. Her phone rings. It's David from legal. Simone, we have a situation. Remember Kyle Jennings? The former security guard who'd confronted her drunk months ago. What about him? He started a YouTube channel called The Truth About Pine Grove. He's spreading conspiracy theories that you orchestrated everything, that the discrimination was fake, that Madison was framed. How many views? His biggest video has 12,000, but it's gaining traction in certain circles. Simone sighs. Monitor it. If he makes defamatory statements, we respond legally. Otherwise, let him rant. The truth is stronger than conspiracy theories. But the call reminds her that the forces of discrimination don't simply disappear. They regroup, find new strategies, new platforms for their hate. The next morning brings better news. The Wall Street Journal is running a front-page story on the Hartwell effect, how inclusive practices have become a competitive advantage in retail. Major chains are now competing to implement the most progressive policies. Her assistant forwards her a clip from a morning show where Madison's former supporter, Councilman Richards, is being interviewed from federal prison. I was wrong, he admits to the interviewer. I let prejudice and greed guide my decisions. Ms. Hartwell exposed not just our crimes, but our moral failures. I have 3 years left to serve, and I deserve every day of it. The interviewer asks, what would you say to Madison Rothwell? Richards looks directly at the camera. I'd tell her what she always refused to see, that every person she turned away was somebody's child, parent, friend. They all deserve better. We all deserve better than what we became. It's a startling admission from someone who'd been so entrenched in the system. That afternoon, Simone visits Pine Grove. It's become her habit to walk through at least once a month to stay connected to where this all started. The mall is bustling with holiday shoppers. Thanksgiving is next week. She stops at Marcelli's, the jewelry store where the first confrontation occurred. The same display case is there, but everything else has changed. The store is full of diverse customers, all being treated with equal respect. The manager approaches. Ms. Hartwell, perfect timing. We wanted to show you something. He leads her to a back wall where they've created a small display. It's a photo from the security footage of her first confrontation, alongside a photo of her on the day she revealed ownership. Below it, a plaque reads, "This store stands with all customers against discrimination. Never again." We get asked about it daily, the manager explains. Parents use it to teach their children about standing up to injustice. It's become a kind of pilgrimage site. Simone is both moved and uncomfortable with the memorialization. She never wanted to be a symbol, just a catalyst for change. Walking through the food court, she's approached by Mrs. Patterson, the elderly woman who'd stood up for her that first day. "I've been hoping to see you," Mrs. Patterson says. "I wanted you to know. I've been shopping here for 35 years, and these last 6 months have been the best. Not just because of the changes, but because of what those changes represent. You've given us our community back." They sit together, sharing coffee and conversation. Mrs. Patterson reveals she'd been a freedom rider in the 1960s. "I thought we'd settled these issues decades ago," she says sadly. "But prejudice is like a weed. If you don't constantly pull it out by the roots, it grows back stronger." "That's why we can't stop," Simone agrees. "Constant vigilance." As they talk, a disturbance erupts near the mall entrance. Security is confronting a young man, but not in the aggressive way of the past. They're calm, professional, de-escalating. Simone approaches to observe. The young man is clearly experiencing a mental health crisis, not a criminal issue. The new security team recognizes this. "Sir, we want to help," the guard, Marcus Thompson's trainee, says gently. "Is there someone we can call? Do you need medical attention?" The contrast to Madison's era is stark. Then he would have been forcefully ejected or arrested. Now he's being offered assistance. Within minutes, a mental health professional arrives, part of the new crisis response team Simone implemented. The situation resolves peacefully, with the man accepting help. Thompson finds Simone afterward. 6 months ago, that would have ended in arrest or worse. Your policies are saving lives, not just changing them. That evening, she has dinner with Dorothy from Macy's, who's been promoted to store manager, a position Madison had blocked her from for years. "I'm 62 years old," Dorothy says. "I thought I'd age out of retail before getting a chance at management. You didn't just change policies, Ms. Hartwell. You changed possibilities. You earned that promotion through decades of excellent work. I just removed the barrier." That barrier was everything. They discuss the upcoming holiday season, the mall's first under-inclusive management. Plans are in place for celebrations of Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Diwali, and other cultural traditions. Madison would have allowed only Christmas decorations. "We're expecting our biggest season ever," Dorothy says. "Pre-orders are up 70%. Families that hadn't shopped here in years are coming back." The next day, Simone attends a meeting with the city's new mayor, Councilman Richards' replacement. The election had been a referendum on the old guard versus Progress, and Progress won decisively. "Ms. Hartwell, I want to formally apologize on behalf of the city for what you experienced, and I want to present you with this." She hands Simone a proclamation declaring her an honorary citizen and establishing Simone Hartwell Day on the anniversary of the mall acquisition. "I appreciate the gesture," Simone says carefully, "but I'd prefer the city focus on systemic changes rather than symbolic ones." "We're doing both." The city council passed the most comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinance in the state. "We're also establishing a civil rights commission with real enforcement power." Progress, Simone thinks. Slow but real. That afternoon brings unexpected news. Madison has requested a meeting from federal prison. Against Patricia's advice, Simone agrees. The prison visiting room is stark, fluorescent lights harsh against concrete walls. Madison enters in orange, looking older, diminished. The powerful woman who once terrorized shoppers is gone, replaced by someone who's had time to think. They sit across from each other at a metal table. "Why did you want to see me?" Simone asks. Madison is quiet for a long moment. "I wanted to understand. How did you stay so calm? When we were harassing you, you never lost control. Because I knew something you didn't. That you were going to buy the mall? No, that your discrimination came from fear, not strength. Confident people don't need to exclude others to feel powerful." Madison's jaw tightens. "I wasn't afraid." "You were terrified. Of losing control, of demographic change, of a world where being white wasn't enough to guarantee success. So you built walls, created lists, turned the mall into a fortress. But fortresses are prisons for those inside too. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your own life the moment you chose hate over humanity. I just held up a mirror. Madison looks away. My daughter won't visit me. Says she's ashamed. She's dating a black man now. Says she never would have before because of how I raised her. She says you freed her too. Simone doesn't respond. There's nothing to say. I still think what you did was entrapment, Madison continues, some of her old fire returning. What I did was shop while black. Everything that followed was your choice. They sit in silence until Madison speaks again, quieter now. The federal investigators showed me the footage, all of it. Hundreds of people over the years. I watched myself destroy innocent people's days, sometimes their lives. I told myself I was maintaining standards, protecting property values, but watching it all at once. She trails off. But I was just a bigot with power. The admission seems to physically pain her. I was what I accused others of being, a threat to safety and security, just not in the way I thought. It's the closest to an apology Simone will likely ever get. What happens when you get out? Simone asks. I don't know. No one will hire me. My reputation is destroyed. My family is fractured. She looks directly at Simone. You won, completely. This was never about winning. It was about justice. And justice isn't revenge. It's accountability plus transformation. You're facing accountability. Whether you transform is up to you. Would you hire me? After I've served my time? The question surprises Simone. Would you hire someone you'd wrongfully banned? Madison has no answer. As Simone leaves, Madison calls out, For what it's worth, the mall does look better now. More alive. It was always alive, Simone responds. You just couldn't see it. Driving back from the prison, Simone reflects on the encounter. Madison might never fully understand the harm she caused, but the acknowledgement of wrongdoing is a start. Not redemption, but perhaps the beginning of recognition. Her phone buzzes with news that makes her pull over. The Department of Justice has announced a national database of retail discrimination incidents, inspired by her documentation efforts. Businesses will be required to report and justify any customer bans, with federal oversight for patterns of discrimination. It's the systemic change she's been pushing for. That evening, she hosts a dinner for the new mall managers across her properties. They're a diverse group, each chosen for their commitment to inclusion and their ability to transform toxic cultures. 6 months ago, she tells them, we started with 13 properties. Now we have 75. By next year, we'll have 200. Each one is a community we're returning to all its people. A manager from Birmingham raises her hand. We're facing pushback from some longtime customers who say the malls are too different now. Good, Simone responds. If everyone's comfortable, we're not inclusive enough. Our job isn't to preserve comfort built on exclusion. It's to create spaces where everyone belongs. Later, reviewing financial projections with her CFO, the numbers tell a powerful story. The combined properties have generated an additional $300 million in revenue since implementing inclusive policies. But more importantly, they've processed 0 valid discrimination complaints. We're getting acquisition offers weekly now, the CFO mentions. Everyone wants the Hartwell touch. We can't save every property, but we can prove the model works so comprehensively that discrimination becomes economically impossible. The week of Thanksgiving brings unexpected joy. The mall hosts a gratitude festival where community members share what they're thankful for. The responses, written on cards and displayed on a massive wall, are moving. Thankful my daughter can shop without fear. Grateful for security that helps instead of hunts. Blessed to work where diversity is celebrated. Thankful for Ms. Hartwell's courage. That last one makes her uncomfortable. This isn't about her. It's about the community reclaiming its space. George from the jewelry store finds her reading the cards. You know what I'm most thankful for? That my grandchildren will grow up thinking inclusive malls are normal. They won't know it was ever different. That's the goal, Simone agrees, making inclusion so standard that discrimination becomes unthinkable. Thanksgiving Day itself, she volunteers at the mall's community dinner, a new tradition serving anyone who needs a meal or companionship. Former employees who were terminated for discrimination aren't welcome, but everyone else is. She serves alongside Dorothy, Carlos, and even Officer Vale, who's become a strong ally. They serve over 1,000 meals to a crowd that represents the true diversity of the community. An elderly black man approaches her table. I was banned from this mall in 1998, said I was loitering, but I was waiting for my wife. Never came back until this month. Thank you for making it safe to return. 26 years of exclusion ended. How many others have similar stories? As the event winds down, her investigator calls with significant news. Simone, we've tracked the discrimination network to its source. There's a software company that's been selling customer risk assessment programs that use racial profiling algorithms. They have contracts with over 3,000 retailers. Send me everything. We're going after them. This is the next phase, targeting the infrastructure of discrimination, not just its implementation. Black Friday arrives with record crowds. The mall that Madison claimed needed protection from certain customers is thriving with all customers. Sales break every previous record. But the real victory comes in smaller moments. Simone watches a group of teenagers, black, white, Latino, Asian, hanging out by the fountain, exactly the scene Madison tried to prevent. They're just being kids, free from harassment, free to exist. A young black mother approaches her. Ms. Hartwell, I want you to know, this is the first year I've felt safe shopping on Black Friday. Usually stores watch me like I'm a thief. Today, they just helped me find deals. That's how it should always be. But it wasn't, until you. By evening, the sales reports are staggering. Pine Grove has beaten its best day ever by 40%. The other properties report similar success. Patricia calls with legal news. The software company wants to settle. They're offering $50 million and agreeing to shut down their profiling programs. No settlement. We go to trial. This needs to be public. It'll cost more to fight than we'll recover. Some fights aren't about money. The weekend after Thanksgiving, Simone receives an unexpected visitor at her home. Brennan, the former security guard, continuing his redemption journey. He's brought his daughter, the mixed-race child he mentioned months ago. This is Aisha, he says. She wanted to meet you. Aisha, about 7, looks up at Simone with bright eyes. Daddy says you're the reason he became good. Brennan looks embarrassed. That's not exactly what I said. It's okay, Simone interrupts, then kneels to Aisha's level. Your daddy was always good inside. He just needed to remember it. He's in school now, Aisha says proudly. Gonna be a lawyer who helps people. That's wonderful. After they leave, Simone thinks about redemption and its possibilities. Not everyone deserves it, but those who genuinely work for it should have a path forward. Monday brings her to Washington for another congressional hearing, this time on the economic impact of discrimination. She testifies with hard data, the hundreds of millions in lost revenue, the thousands of jobs affected, the immeasurable social costs. Discrimination isn't just morally wrong, she tells Congress. It's economically devastating. We've proven that inclusion increases profits, creates jobs, and strengthens communities. Any business still choosing discrimination is choosing failure. A congressman challenges her. But shouldn't businesses have the right to choose their customers? Not when they're places of public accommodation, and not when those choices are based on protected characteristics. The Civil Rights Act settled this in 1964. We're just enforcing what should have been standard all along. After the hearing, she meets with DOJ officials about the software company lawsuit. They want to join the case, making it a federal matter. This could set precedent for algorithmic discrimination, Agent Chen explains. Your documentation makes it prosecutable. Flying home, she reads through messages from mall managers across the country. Each shares success stories, revenue up, communities healing, discrimination eliminated. The model is working everywhere it's tried. But there's also concerning news. A coalition of traditional retail advocates is forming to fight inclusive policies, claiming they threaten customer safety and comfort. It's the same old prejudice in new packaging. Tuesday, she convenes her leadership team to address this backlash. They're organizing boycotts of our properties, David reports, claiming we're practicing reverse discrimination. Let them boycott, Simone responds. We'll see who needs whom more. And they do see. The boycotts fail spectacularly. The few customers who leave are far outnumbered by those who return or arrive for the first time. The traditional retail advocates quietly dissolve within weeks. As December begins, Simone walks through Pine Grove one evening after closing. The maintenance crew is working, a diverse team that Madison would never have hired. They greet her warmly. The mall is decorated for all the winter holidays, lights reflecting the diversity of the community. It's beautiful in a way Madison's monochrome Christmas never was. She stops at the spot where security first confronted her. It's just a normal place now, no different from any other spot in the mall. The trauma has been overwritten by transformation. Her phone buzzes with a message from Keisha, the young woman who's now working at the DOJ. First case assigned, investigating a mall in Texas for discrimination. I'm using the Hartwell method. Thank you for showing us the way. The Hartwell method. She never intended to create a methodology, but perhaps that's what's needed. A replicable approach to dismantling discrimination. As she prepares to leave, she sees a figure sitting on a bench near the entrance. It's Kyle Jennings, the former guard who'd started the YouTube channel against her. He looks defeated. "Ms. Hartwell," he says, standing as she approaches. I wanted to apologize. My channel, the lies I spread, I was angry and wrong. What changed? My son saw the videos. He's 16. He said he was ashamed of me, said I was becoming someone he couldn't respect. That woke me up. Another parent learning from their child. It seems to be a pattern. I took the channel down, he continues. I know it doesn't undo the damage, but I wanted you to know. Acknowledgement is a start. What you do next matters more. He nods and walks away. Not everyone will redeem themselves like Brennan, but even small acknowledgments of wrong matter. The year is ending, and Simone reflects on the journey. From a customer profiled and harassed to an owner of nearly 100 properties. From one woman's stand to a national movement for retail justice. But the work is far from over. The software company trial looms. More properties need transformation. The infrastructure of discrimination still exists, weakened but not eliminated. On New Year's Eve, Pine Grove hosts a celebration open to all. Thousands attend, representing every corner of the community. At midnight, as confetti falls, Simone stands in the center court where Madison once ruled through fear. Dorothy finds her in the crowd. "Look at this," she says, gesturing at the diverse celebration. "This is what was always possible. Madison just couldn't see it. Or didn't want to see it. Either way, it's beautiful now." As the celebration continues, Simone's phone rings. It's her investigator with urgent news. "Simone, I've found something huge. The discrimination network goes international. There are connections to properties in Canada, the UK, Australia. This is global." The fight just got bigger. But so did the opportunity for change. Looking around at the celebrating crowd, people of all races, ages, religions, and backgrounds, Simone knows this is just the beginning. Pine Grove was proof of concept. The 75 properties are scaling the model. The international connections suggest a global transformation possibility. Madison is in prison. Richards is in prison. The old guard is broken, but the systems they represented still exist elsewhere, waiting to be challenged, waiting to be changed. Tomorrow the work continues. More battles to fight, more communities to heal, more barriers to break. But tonight, in this mall where she was once unwelcome, everyone celebrates together. The security guard who replaced Brennan approaches her. "Ms. Hartwell, we just helped a family find their lost child. The parents were so grateful. They said they never would have asked for help in the old days. They would have been too afraid of being accused of something." This is the real transformation. Not just policy changes, but trust rebuilt. Fear replaced with faith and fair treatment. As the new year begins, Simone makes a resolution. By next year, she'll have 200 properties under inclusive management. By the year after, she'll have helped pass federal legislation making discrimination economically impossible. And someday, hopefully soon, the very idea of retail discrimination will seem as archaic as whites-only water fountains. The journey from "leave immediately" to "everyone welcome" is complete at Pine Grove. But across the nation and around the world, that journey is just beginning. And Simone Hartwell will be leading the way, one mall at a time, until no one is ever unjustly told to leave again.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. If you found the content helpful, please remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming episodes. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. We are always here to listen.